Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Uganda's opposition presidential candidate Bobi Wine under house arrest since last week's vote gains international support. British and African leaders vow to develop stronger business ties at the UK-Africa Investment Conference. Algerians urge former colonial master France to recognize its crimes. Our top story today: Uganda's opposition presidential candidate Bobi Wine is still under house arrest a week after he went out to vote in the elections officially won by longtime ruler Yoweri Museveni. Wine, who has not been able to leave his home since the 14th of January and denied food supply by security forces surrounding his residence, is however gaining international support. After a United States envoy attempted to visit his house on Monday, Nigerian human rights lawyer Femi Falana on Tuesday filed a complaint with the United Nations over Wine's illegal detention, arguing the lack of criminal charges against him by Ugandan authorities. The European Union on Wednesday called for abuses against Wine to be probed. The 38-year-old, who is considered the real victor of the election by his supporters, officially finished second last week, but has dismissed the election as a complete sham, denouncing violence and electoral fraud. On the economic front, after holding the UK-Africa Investment Summit last year, the British authorities organised the Africa Investment Conference on Wednesday, hosted by the African Development Bank. British and African business and government leaders discussed investment and partnership opportunities amid the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Among the sectors under the spotlight were sustainable infrastructure, renewable energy, agriculture, or financial services. Participants heard about the myriad of opportunities the African continent has to offer in terms of natural or agricultural resources. British authorities highlighted their desire for the United Kingdom to become Africa's business partner of choice for trade and investment during the one-day virtual event. On the health front, Angola has imposed new restrictions on air travelers to prevent the importation of COVID-19 variants on its soil. Passengers arriving from Brazil and Portugal at Luanda Airport must now get tested for COVID-19 as part of a series of measures to limit the spread of the virus.
To reduce the number of COVID-19 cases in our country, it's an idea that came to us suddenly in order to always be able to control the situation related to the new variant. We inform you that 5 cases have been detected here at the airport, and the objective is to do sequencing to determine if they are related to the variant.
From midnight next Sunday, the 24th of January, Angola will close its borders to arrivals from South Africa, Portugal and Brazil.
We will continue to work until the 23rd so that the suspension of flights with South Africa, Brazil and Portugal takes place on the 24th. When no more cases are detected, we will resume our services to welcome those who wish to come to Angola.
The new measures are in response to reports of COVID-19 variants in the 3 countries mentioned. In South Africa, hit by a second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, an interfaith prayer group has embarked on a mission to pray for COVID-19 patients and frontline workers outside hospitals in the coastal city of Cape Town.
This activity is that activity that you realize the whole concept of our existence, that we are here to complement each other. Even the Quran says, whether the Bible, we're talking about the Torah, the Sanskrit, they all talk about working together.
Muslims and Christians stand side by side as they pray for COVID-19 patients and medical staff.
Especially this hospital programs and the prayers we make sure we have another person with us. So it just creates a better environment. Remember, South Africa, Muslims are only 2.5%. So obviously, most of these patients will be Christians. So we need to have a Christian, even a Hindu person, that prays for them as well.
The initiative is a way to express solidarity with patients fighting coronavirus alone, isolated from their loved ones. Each prayer session is limited to 15 people. All participants are required to wear face masks and social distancing is enforced. Algerians on Wednesday called on former colonial master France to acknowledge its crimes after the French presidency said earlier this week they would not issue a public apology for colonial abuses perpetrated during France's 132-year occupation of Algeria, which ended in a brutal war in 1962.
As an Algerian, I think that it is up to Algerian diplomacy to move forward and to denounce this position, because France is considered one of the worst of colonialism. It has tortured and persecuted, in particular, by carrying out nuclear tests on the Algerian people. As Algerians, we must denounce this position, and France must recognize its crimes, murders, torture, and forced displacement of the Algerian people.
Concerning what Macron says and the important crimes of France in Algeria, we as Algerians must have a unified position between the people and the government against Macron and France to force them to recognize the crimes committed in Algeria, the very great crimes, the crimes against humanity without precedent in the world.
We know that in our country there are men and fighters from the Algerian War of Independence who died and sacrificed themselves for this country. The rest doesn't interest me. Whether France recognizes or not, it's their business.
French President Emmanuel Macron, however, vowed to take symbolic acts, including the establishment of a Memories and Truth Commission to reconcile the two countries in reaction to a report by French historian Benjamin Stora addressing and jarring grievances. In Sudan, the death toll from clashes in recent days in the restive Darfur region has risen above 200, according to the authorities. The updated figure comes after the authorities said on Monday that clashes between rival ethnic groups in the area had left 47 dead, a day after at least 83 people died in separate clashes over the weekend in the troubled area. Among the key issues are land ownership and access to water. The killings took place just more than 2 weeks since a long-running peacekeeping mission ended its operations in the country, marked by decades of civil war. The Sudanese government and other countries have dispatched soldiers to the affected areas to contain the latest violence. On the international scene, Joe Biden on Wednesday took the oath of office as the 46th President of the United States in a ceremony at the Capitol in Washington, ending former Republican President Donald Trump's 4-year term in the White House.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Former California Senator Kamala Harris also took the oath of office, thus becoming the first woman to be sworn in as Vice President of the United States.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Meanwhile, in the United States, former President Donald Trump left Washington on Wednesday, just 3 hours ahead of the inauguration of his successor, Joe Biden, saying goodbye to his supporters.
I just want to say you are amazing people. This is a great, great country. It is my greatest honor and privilege to have been your president. And we had a lot of obstacles, and we went through the obstacles, and we just got 75 million votes, and that's a record in the history of sitting presidents. That's an all-time record by a lot, by many millions. In the history of sitting presidents, it's been really just an honor.
Being your First Lady was my greatest honor. Thank you for your love and your support. You will be in my thoughts and prayers. God bless you all. God bless your families. And God bless this beautiful nation.
By choosing not to attend his successor's inauguration ceremony, Donald Trump, who believes he was cheated out of a second term in office, broke 152 years of tradition in the United States.
That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.